Welcome, Spark. So what kind of Spark are you? Player? Creator? Or both? The stories yet to be told. The games to be made. Civilizations and societies to be formed. The universe is waiting for you to bring it to life. Now, how do we begin?
Hey there, guys.
Hey everyone.
Welcome to another education stream. This one's going to be kind of a fun one. So, what are we doing this stream, Zach?
So, Brian, this stream we are going to be debugging. So we have 6 bugs that have been created for Brian and myself. We don't really know what these bugs are. We don't know quite how to solve them. They are inside of the RPG starter kit. So I'm going to solve 3, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if we can each solve the 3 we've kind of assigned to each other.
So basically, a big part of creating a game is solving all your bugs.
Right.
During game creation, you'll come up with a lot of bugs in your games, and one of the hardest things is figuring out how to track down those bugs and actually solve them. And a great question for Mescat is, what about you just don't add bugs to your games?
Oh,
that would be wonderful. But as you get more and more complex things, you're more likely to have bugs in your games.
Right.
So we thought it'd be nice, again, to bring in, this is the second week in a row that we're using the tactical RPG starter kit, just because it's kind of complex. So it's when a bug happens, it's a bit harder to find it because you have a lot more things to look between.
Right.
So we each know what the 3 bugs are that the other one has to solve. So I'm going to be here basically. Zach is going to first try and solve his 3 bugs. He's going to go bring you through his process of how he does debugging and sort of general rules of thumbs of how a smart way and smartest way to do debugging in your game. He will hopefully do enough debugging to find his 3 bugs. Then I have 3 bugs that Zach knows all about. I will then try and do the same thing, show you my methods for debugging, and then he actually knows what all those bugs are too. So we also kind of know the tricks that each other is trying to solve in case one of us becomes in case one of us becomes fully stumped. Which hopefully we're good enough at bug solving by this point that we're not. So this will be kind of a fun challenge of, can we solve bugs that break the game?
Right, absolutely. So to start out here, I have 3 bugs. I'm going to go through now. I got a list of reproduction steps. So one of the most important things that we're not covering in the stream is what are called reproduction steps.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, we already know how to reproduce these bugs. But the most important part to solving a bug is finding out what causes it.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know quite what causes these bugs that I'm about to happen. And by causing it, I mean what kind of player input makes it happen. Not what happens in the brain, but when do we see this and where do we see it?
Yeah, it's basically if someone says, hey, there's a bug in your game, then you ask them, okay, how did you find the bug? And they give you the steps. Well, I selected this character, then I selected this shop, and the shop exploded.
Right.
And so by giving those steps, those are reproduction steps. And reproduction steps are the most important part to identifying these are the steps this person has taken. Therefore, somewhere within these steps, there's a disconnect, and that is a bug.
Right. So here we go. I'm going to try my 3 bugs. So there are a couple. They all have to do in the starter kit with, what do I want to say? Tactical
mode, yes.
So when I hold down the left bumper, I enter tactical mode.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first things I'll see is, unfortunately, these guys are still moving around. Time should unfortunately be stopped for everyone.
Right, and this tactical mode, by the way, this is part 2 of how to create an RPG. This was covered then, but tactical mode here is anyone who might have played Dragon Age Inquisition. This is actually very similar tactical mode to that, where switch into an overview tactical mode where you can assign different tasks to your main characters, and when you assign them, then kind of everything is paused, and then you can unpause time, and then they actually perform their actions you assign to them.
So you'll see here, I'm holding down the right trigger, and we have these goblins, and right now they're frozen. I'll hold down the right trigger, and they'll kind of start moving around, playing their idle animation.
So that's how you pause and unpause time. But no matter what you're doing with pausing and unpausing time, it's not affecting those 4 characters.
Right. So you can see here, regardless of whether or not I put the right trigger down, these guys are still animating. And this starts to become an issue when, let's say, I bring my guy over here, I press the left bumper,
and they don't stop.
and they don't quite go into...
They're at a bit of an advantage right now.
Right, exactly.
With those goblins.
Also, you'll see that when I try to assign my players to move places, you'll see that on the left side, their icon, they have the nice little moving icon, but they themselves are not moving.
Right, they're not actually following, they're not actually moving.
And in fact, another really important part I see here is once they kill one goblin, they stop attacking. This tells me that their brains probably are not receiving any more input, but they're doing the last thing that they were thinking when we paused the game. So, what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to edit, and the first thing I'm going to do is check out the nuances of how we get into this.
Oh yeah, do you want to turn on show named objects also?
Absolutely.
This is what I think is a really important thing is no, you want to go to options.
Yeah.
Turning on during debugging, turning on show named objects, also show brain references.
You're right.
By turning on both of those two things, it shows you the names of your objects, and also it shows basically if one object is talking to another object through code. So that's a useful way of seeing kind of the web of code. So if something's broken and it's connected to a bunch of other things, you need to look at all of those different things for what's happening.
Right. So let's see. The names here that I'm reading are leveling in XP. I don't believe we'll need that brain. Oh my god, let me get behind the thing here. Oh, it's so hard to read this.
What program we use to stream Project Spark? We use XSplit. XSplit's great. OBS is great. There's a lot of great software out there.
So I think push brains sounds like a good brain to start in, and maybe character switcher controls. So this big guy, I believe, is character switcher controls. And let me just pop over to my favorite.
Oh god, keyboard mouse. All right, I'm gonna have to move the mic.
The reason he has to move the mic is this.
You with your loud tapping.
Right, exactly. So push brains, and over here we have character switcher controls. I think we're able to switch characters easy enough. So the controls, if that is an accurate brain title, we should be fine. So I'm going to go with push brain here. So global party member, we're pushing our brain fighter. This seems to happen whenever we're switching characters real time, so that seems fine. Tactical pushing. Here we go. So what could possibly be wrong here? So not global tactical view. We seem to be able to switch back and forth, so that's fine. Page entered. Hello. Archer push brain. So they're pushing their tactical brains. Hooray. Global party member equal to whatever. These are nice and equal.
I just have to say, it's really fun watching this, knowing exactly what the problem is.
So the first thing I'm looking for is something that happens to every single character, right? So I see that these are all happening to every single character. I think pushing these is probably fine. I think this system is working pretty well.
Another really important thing to note, though, is all the characters are templates.
Right. So let's see, global party member equals 1. Okay, lovely. This is switching. Definitely not in that brain. So I just, from seeing this very quickly, I can say, okay, this global party member thing is definitely working well in this brain. This is not another page. Global party does start out equal to 1. Whatever, definitely.
That's old code. Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to go into their tactical brain, see what should be happening. Once team equals 1, switch page, combat, go there. So we know this is definitely not happening. So go to is never being called. So we can see, so just to kind of come back here and explain my thinking, we'll go into tactical mode. We'll grab one of our guys. So I can see that obviously the global player variable is being assigned correctly. And we will try to move while these guys aren't moving. So I know the go there is never moved, or never called on these players' brains. So, where is this called? Obviously in the tactical thing, I'm looking to go to, and I want to see where this boolean is called and why. Track this boolean down and see where that might not, or where that might happen.
I'll also give you a hint. Until last week, it was working properly.
Yeah. Let's see.
So there's third variables you have to think about. And the important thing is how you find out what third variables are in play.
Okay.
Yeah, I started out with giving, I know, from knowing what the 3 bugs are here, I know these are pretty hard for Zach to find. This'll, if you find these 3 bugs, I'll be impressed.
You'll be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where's go to assigned? Let's see.
So just because you would know all the variables in your own game will kind of give you help with this.
Yeah.
The go-to boolean that you saw, that only is useful in the tactical brains, not used anywhere else.
Right, absolutely.
Same with the attack assignment.
Yes, of course. Okay. Can you tell me real quick where you call that boolean? Besides, like where you
tactical
set it?
target and go-to, those are called inside the tactical cursor.
Ah,
so if you go to the
I knew
tactical
it. I was
cursor,
right there.
Yeah, if you go inside of it,
Okay, so what
you'll
do you
see
call
it basically keep on going down. Is basically looking at whoever your global player is.
Yeah.
That's the person you've the
right
global
here,
players
global
you
player
selected.
equal to true.
Yeah. So whoever your global player is, whoever's selected, that boolean will be pushed onto them.
Okay. Distance to target less than 1. Play effects. Sure, why not? This is definitely happening. Global player my enemy equals target. Interesting. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is I am just going to make a debugging brain. Actually, I think we have a debugging brain right over here.
Yep. Yeah, I made that. I put that there for you. You can delete all that stuff. All that stuff is meaningless now.
And I'm going to add something, and I'm just going to say display. I'm going to say global. And then I'm going to say player. Okay. I'm just going to see if this is changed. Oh.
Yeah, you didn't set a space
It shouldn't
display
particularly matter, right? Oh, no, it should.
Yeah.
Oh, is this one a what do you call it? A template as well?
I don't think that's a template.
Okay. It's always the second above. So here we go.
Sure you want to display it above that thing? You
would
want
like-
to just do display like top left corner?
I could do that if. Where is this thing going? Is it? Oh, is it because it's visible is equal to true? It won't. No, that's not it. Whatever.
Well, you may just want to double check to make sure it's not a template.
Yeah, I think I will. So positioning.
You already have
now
above.
I have above.
Yeah.
Darn modifiers. Modifiers.
Let's see if Zach can debug his own line of code first.
So screen top center, and then go in here, make sure this isn't a template. Properties, brain, template, false. Okay.
Oh, brain active. I have that as false. That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So good debugging. It's talking about debugging right there, right? Okay. Put that there. Okay.
You're debugging the thing to use to debug the things.
So this is interesting.
Well, yeah. It's displaying the actual character.
Okay, so this is changing. This is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is still changing. Still nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think here. Okay. So now I know global player is being assigned to at least a character. I know it's being assigned to the objects that is being displayed. So let's go back into tactical view here. And then we'll say global player go to equals true. So this is being equal to true. Very interesting. If all this is nice and true, A pressed, target equals.
Oh, this is so fun! It's like I'm the only one in the room having fun at this. Everyone else is like, "Come on, Zach, figure it out already in 5 minutes." It's so much fun because I know exactly what the issue is.
Okay, so we could say a press target equals position distance to target. Interesting. Is less than 1. Play effects at position target position. Interesting. Global player.
Oh, so that's a really important line right there, actually.
Yes.
Okay, so that has actually that line highlights your enemies red. You notice your enemies were not highlighted red. So why were they not highlighted red? What's target equal to?
It's equal to.
Go up.
It's equal to the position.
Nope. That's a vector variable. Target the object variable. Go up.
Oh. Target is
There.
distance equal to.
So it's line 7.
Okay. Global player enemies nearest object.
Target equals it.
it.
So whoever the enemy of your global player is, that should be its target. Therefore, it should be whoever your global player is. It highlights their enemy red, right?
Right.
But it doesn't.
Yeah.
What that means is something's not right with global player.
Yep.
I'm like slowly talking you through it.
No, I get it. So I'm trying to figure out what can a global player be at the moment that it would be annoying to call these objects on. And so I'm going to move towards.
So one of the first things you also probably want to look at is how you're actually creating those characters, right?
Yeah. I'm assuming now that we're doing this, I assume that we're creating. The fact that these are templates is messing with it quite terribly.
So we, if you remember from last week, I have them created through the respawn logic cube.
Yes. Oh, I thought we turned that off.
Nope.
We just turned parts of it off.
I just turned the restart. So that's how they're all being spawned.
Mm-hmm. Global respawn point above. Yeah, okay.
I like how the community also who's watching is like trying to debug it too. They're like, it's like a fun challenge sort of, to watch along with this.
So create, lovely, fighter, sure, at, global respawn position, sure, above whatever, some variable thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's just setting a position.
yeah. Global respawn, we don't really care about this either, right? 'Cause this is this turned off?
No, respawn works.
Okay. But the one where we're interested about this once.
Yes, because that creates everything that is in the game.
So, in keeping with doing something silly, we're just going to really quickly add a line of code here. And then we'll say start.
How to debug a level that Brian put a bug in. Step 1: ask Brian where he put the bug.
Okay.
So actually, the funny thing is, this is actually a bug that I didn't fix before uploading this last week. And so actually, what we're gonna do is we are going to fix this now.
So that made
and
it
then
super
upload it.
angry. In fact, it made it so it didn't even spawn our players in,
Mm-hmm.
which is super interesting because I can look at all this stuff.
Right?
So I know that these are incredibly disconnected, and I should stop looking at them now.
Yeah.
This is good. It's very good. See, doing big things like this teaches you stuff very quickly about the system you're working in, right? So now I know that these guys are maybe not even, or they're definitely not.
Oh, you also have that under once, by the way. You know that.
What you say?
So
yeah.
they're not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
run because
yeah.
they're under once.
You're right.
So it's
So, but-
basically you just did ignore line there.
Right, exactly. I basically did ignore line. So I know that these guys, these nice little fighter, archer, mage, tank, are not the global players I'm referencing over in this line, because they were never created.
There you go. This is progress.
This is a lot of progress. So the first thing I want to try to do in that case is to connect these guys and see if that fixes it. We don't really know if it will, but hey, what could it hurt, right? So key 1 equals fighter. This is lovely. So where are we assigning global player?
Global player is assigned in push brains. And I'm only saying that because if you were the creator of this, you'd know, you
Yes.
probably know where it is.
So global player equals.
Oh, did someone figure it out?
Let's see. So it started to, since these are all assigned to a variable, but it's not a global variable. I want to keep it clean, but I'm just not going to. I'm just gonna, for debugging purposes, we're now going to assign this very specific variable, P1, to only one of my players, right? So global party member equal to this, global player equal to this.
And your
so
global party member will start out at 1. So
Right.
the game will start, global party member will be equal to 1.
Right, exactly. So now we know if this guy's working in some way, we fix something, opposed to if we move to this guy and it's not working, then we didn't fix. Or that's the difference, right? Having contrast between these, you don't want to just change it all. So, let's go into... Hello, are you... No, you're still moving, but do you... are you assigned things? No, not quite. But... Are you... No. Okay, so now I'm going to go out of tactical mode. And then go back here. It's interesting. Okay. I wonder if you will now... After you kill a goblin, do you still move around? No. Wow. He is not a happy camper. Okay. Let's go back in here. So you know that didn't quite fix what we wanted. Player pop brain. Interesting. So as soon as we go in here, we kill the brain.
This might... Okay. You just remember that you have a second page that takes care of tactical mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you were testing on tactical mode, this page has nothing to do with tactical mode.
Yep. Trying to think.
And so when you were saying, hey, this didn't affect tactical mode, it wouldn't, because that's not on the tactical mode page.
I'm actually uninterested in this right now. Let's go here. Let's start out super simple. Oh, this is the wrong brain. Super simple. Let's grab something that we know should work. So global player, enemies, nearest object, target equals it. Okay. Well, global player is assigned, let's see, when are we assigning global player? That was only in tactical, or that was only in regular mode. So in tactical mode, we're going to just do this. Instead of global, really quickly, we're going to go try to get a result we want. So we're going to try to get a result we want to see if these references are bad. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go into Objects, World Picker, grab our guy that's assigning our players, which if I would, in World Picker, no, confirmed, so, there, okay. Instead of player, we want P1. Okay, enemies, nearest object, target equals it. Okay, distance to target, blah, 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 red. So, let's go this. Let's go get in combat. And then, nope, wrong button. Ah, it's highlighted. Why is that? Very interesting. Okay,
they're
so
highlighted blue.
Yeah, which is super interesting.
That's actually weird.
That's actually
I don't even know
super,
why they're
super
highlighted
weird.
red or blue instead of red. Huh. That's a new thing.
Okay, but now we get some idea. So we know that that reference is terrible, and we know that we have a better reference that we're looking for. So we go back in here. And we're going to change. So we know that we changed global player. So pretty much we know global player is wrong. So somewhere, so now we know a bug. Yay, we have a very good idea. Global player, when switching to tactical mode, is broken because we assigned these guys here. Now we know, well, what do we want to do to fix that? Well, we probably want to go into push brains, probably want to go into the tactical page, and we probably want to see what's happening here that's making them terrible. So global player equals hello. Let's make you P1. But you can't. Okay, I'm making these global because it's starting to get really rough.
Oh, you just moved that
Oh.
brain accident. You probably want to move that brain back.
Yep. Okay. So now I'm going to make these global variables because
they're used on a lot of
I'm
objects.
using in a lot of different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Copy this guy, paste him here, paste him here, paste him here. Good. Lovely. So P1, P2, P3. Let's go back into here. Go over. I'm only going to change these for 2 because, like I said before, I want to see contrast. So let's do global. And we'll do global. And this guy's P3 now. Cool. Excuse me. So the mage and the fighter should now work when we're...
So what you're doing is you think you have a solution,
Right.
and you are applying it to just one,
2.
well, okay, 2 objects instead
Right.
of a whole batch. So you can kind of compare the results of like here are these things that have not been changed, and here
Right.
are these things that have been changed.
And this is always a very, very integral part to debugging because you need to have that contrast, right? If you're just going around changing stuff, you're not going to get as much information
It's
as you normally
actually
would.
kind of like a usual science experiment. You have like the test group, and then the group you actually did something to.
Okay. So I noticed that my active mode isn't working on my first guy, so I must have accidentally changed something there. But let's now go into tactical mode. Oh,
You're still moving.
wait, is the mage moving though? He
Yep.
totally is. Is he moving? Ah, but he'll listen to me.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right, so you got a bug fixed.
I got 1 bug fixed.
They listen to you.
My warrior will now listen to me. And now, just to make sure we have it right? That's what we'd expect. We'd also expect the archer and the tank to not. Good. If they were listening to me, things would get really, really bad. Just because we would know that whatever we changed didn't change what we thought it did. So we now have an idea about what we changed. We now have a theory about why it changed, and we've kind of proven that theory by changing the stuff around. Oh, that's interesting. Why are they following him?
As people are saying in chat,
Oh,
finally,
magic.
progress.
Finally, progress indeed. Okay, so now...
Oh, the other guys are gonna follow whoever your
whoever the
global
main
players.
character is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so now the first thing I want to check is, why is my first guy not happy anymore?
Oh, you also still have those aren't global variables.
What's equals? Global player should, let's see, yeah, you probably remember.
And you also want to change it on that line. No.
No.
Yeah.
Ah! One too many. Okay, so global, I think this might change. Let's see.
No, part of the bug was the addition of a global tile, not the removal of a global tile.
Yeah, this will be fine. Right, addition of tile, not the removal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So now, I fixed 1 bug. Even though it's only happened on 2 players, I want that to stay there so I can keep the contrast going.
Mm-hmm. You probably want to look at now what's setting the pace of stuff.
Indeed I do.
What sets the pace of stuff is the toggle tactical view logic cube, that big logic cube. Right there.
Okay. Oh, this seems like it might be easy. Let's see.
So what's
For
going
each
on?
time objects.
Go to the very top. What's going on is it starts out by adding every single object in the world. Then it just decreases or just decrements it or removes from that list the cursor.
Tactical cursor.
So everything in the world is part of this object set except for your cursor. And then everything is paused except for the cursor.
This
So
is
why
a
would it
left
be
person press.
that you're looking for every single object in the world, but those don't count?
Indeed. Let's see. Right trigger for each time object. It's probably because increment by all objects in the world. Increment by...
So what is the one reason why you say all objects are part of this object set, and those 4 objects say no, I'm not because of?
Probably because, well... Why would
Because
they not be? because all objects might be set only at the beginning of the game. So we might need to set, once.
There we go. Do you want to explain the epiphany you had?
So we only set all objects once. And once the tile, and also once period throughout the game, right? And once only runs at the beginning frame of the game. Most of the time when you're instantiating, a rule of thumb is, and it's a very interesting rule of thumb, roughly takes 3 frames. Roughly. It can take more than 3 frames, it can take less, not really less. It's 3 frames are really over. So this once tile happens at least 2 frames before our objects are created. So I can easily say I could either put a timer on this, but I don't really want to do that because we might be creating and destroying. So we're just going to say when left bumper pressed, we're going to do all this. So every time we press the left bumper, we're going to toggle tactical view, get rid of this. We're going to increment, and then we're going to decrement that.
So now, instead of only setting all objects throughout the world at the very beginning of the game, it's going to set all objects in the world as soon as you're in tactical view.
Right, exactly. So now we're going to try this again.
I will tell you that you have succeeded.
It looks like I have succeeded.
Paused. Yep.
Now the other thing is,
I have no idea why it's blue, but it pretty much works. I don't know why it's blue.
There we go. He's gonna go attack. Hopefully, he's gonna go attack the goblin I told him to attack, and then we're gonna pause it again. I say, no, attack this goblin instead. And he totally does.
Yep, except
and then he dies.
Really quickly.
So now now we have a bug that we didn't even know we'll have. I'm so happy.
Yep.
So now I have to figure out why this is blue and not red.
Yeah, I actually don't know. That's
highlight target red. Very interesting. So highlight is called, but target and red is not called.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, okay, I know why.
Highlight.
And yeah, this is a lot of people say Mr. Exop said that the once tile has messed him up quite a few times. The once tile, be very careful when you use once, because once can have a lot of unintended things. Like for instance, what I had done inefficiently in the code, with only looking at something once at the very beginning of the game before other things are created. So what's basically happening is it understands the first thing there, highlight. It doesn't understand the second thing, red. Target red.
It understands target because it understands the correct thing. It doesn't understand the color, which is interesting. This could be a couple of different things. So the first thing I changed was simply changing this around. Instead of highlight target red, instead of highlight red target red, I said highlight red target. It's not quite what it wants though.
Yeah, and Word Andrew said, what if you find an actual bug? I know exactly what should be done in this situation, so it's an accomplishable bug. Another reason why we're doing this is there's a will and a way for everything you do in Project Spark. There are the unfortunate situations where sometimes some form of an actual bug will make it into Project Spark, but those things usually are not actually things that will affect your code. Code is consistent. Things that you might find, or maybe something happening with sound, but code works. So if you find a bug, look through all your code and test around with it, and you'll probably find a workaround or a way to fix it.
Yeah, and Brian's saying something very interesting here, and that is sometimes code does not work the way you expect it to work. This happens with all programming languages. It is not something unique to Project Spark. Calling these things, to get a little more deeper, usually these things are called functions, or they're called operators. And they take arguments, and arguments are data. So you give it data, and it does something with the data, and it spits it back out. And they take different arguments, and this is true of all kind of stuff like this. And sometimes you don't know what those arguments are, or you don't know the data that you're supposed to be giving it for it to do the thing that you want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get distance to target less than 1. I'm going to make sure this is true before I say this doesn't work. So over here?
It's looking for the cursor's distance to target.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not looking for the
okay.
player's distance to target. The cursor's distance to target.
Oh, interesting. Oh. It's because this is blue, isn't it? You're setting like the parent color to blue for the let's see.
We are having arguments on the stream. Indeed, it's fun when you're finding bugs in your game. Arguments are probably had many times. Of course, it's a lot more fun when you know what exactly the bugs are and you're just watching someone try and figure out themselves.
This is very interesting.
Also, another thing you should probably check for is you didn't complete your thought on setting global P1, P2, P3, P4 on all objects.
Yes.
You didn't complete that throughout the entire
Right.
brain of the other thing. So
Yes.
You may want to also finish
Oh.
up that to see if that could be affecting it.
That's true. That might be something interesting to do. It could be grabbing multiple.
Not on here on the push brain.
I want to just make sure. First, I set them all global. Just want to make sure I did that to all of them, and then I'll go in here and use that variable that I set. It
So
was.
yeah, basically for every single one of those
yeah,
guys.
those archers.
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to use controller here. Have you noticed? This is like my first time giving it a good go.
I know.
Okay.
You also want global player equals global P2 on line
yes,
10.
Thank you.
I'm impressed that you're sticking with controller for this long.
I'm trying here. Okay, and then... No! Ah! Okay, she stopped now. I gotta work faster!
Yeah.
Yeah, I deleted the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then global P3, P4. Okay.
And then also page 2. You want to do with all those guys.
Yup.
I didn't say this would be an easy bug.
Tedious is maybe a word. No. Well, actually,
yeah,
that's
exactly
you
good.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I have to see if I can solve my bugs in 20 minutes. Unfortunately, you didn't do it everywhere. But
Let's see. Let's see if it fixes it. No. it
it's
has
highlighted
not.
blue.
It's definitely still highlighted blue.
So this was not a bug we set out to fix.
No, it is not.
But I would say you have, because we should probably get to my bugs.
Okay. You want more time? That's fair.
So, you want me to take it over, just complete the circle?
Let me think. I mean, you probably should. Fine.
Well, I actually don't know if, I think we might have actually done something throughout this playtime that I might not even fix that highlighting to red instead of blue. I think we put something in unintended in there that I hadn't thought about.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think that's a low priority bug.
Absolutely. We did get it highlighting, which was really the bug. And then for some reason
Right.
we turned it blue, which was interesting.
Yeah. So you also want to just to wrap this up, basically, because all right. So the here's the bug. Oh wait, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And this is actually P4. So the bug was basically I was referencing.
Here, you talk, I'll do.
Okay, I was referencing in-world objects. Last week, when I created a respawn system, I made every one of these characters a template. So these templates are not created at all in the world. I then set it so that when these objects are created, they are also saved as this object variable. For player 1, it's global P1. For player 2, it's global P2. We added the global on this stream. Player 3 is global P3, and player 4 is global P4. So all this stuff was still referencing in-world objects that were actually templates. So when you're referencing a template, it's not really going to work. So basically, all this kind of Zach. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
That's actually
UI
correct.
bug.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's all of it.
all of this, basically, all the stuff Zach worked on was to get to the fact that I need every single thing in the game to reference those
New
global
variables.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, those global player variables.
Okay, I think that was all of it.
Okay. All right, now people are thinking that I'm not going to be able to debug a single, not a screenshot. I will not be able to debug a single bug in this amount of time. Let's either do that, or let's blow their minds, and let's see if I can do it all in 15 minutes.
1 second. What I'd like to do is on stream, go back. You did save, right?
Yeah,
You should go back. Go back to that level.
but I only have
And I
15
will-
minutes to debug.
And I will very quickly put in some bugs.
While you turn around.
Wait, okay, in this level? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going upstream, so you can't.
He
all
can't.
right,
I guarantee you can't see what we're about to do.
I'm instead looking at what people are writing on Twitter.
If you say so. Better not be Twitch. You better have your right T on. Okay, so we're really gonna quickly switch some things around. I already decided what things we're going to switch around. We're just going to put 3 bugs in here for Brian. No one tell him the bugs I'm putting in. Maybe you can't read Twitch chat while this is happening.
No, I actually am not reading. I do.
I mean like for the duration.
Oh yeah, I do actually want to find these bugs, like, and not know what they are.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you want that. Because that's what I'm doing. And one more. Let's see.
Actually, this will be more fun because also the community knows what the bug is, so
Yes.
they're gonna have to restrain themselves from telling me what the bug is. So kind of everyone will be in on the joke except me. That'll make it much more entertaining.
I agree. Hopefully, now I get to be entertained. Okay, I believe. I just want to double check. Okay, 1 second. Now let me turn away. Oh wait, let me get rid of that logic cube I put in real quick. You can turn back now, Brian. We're
Okay.
ready. Get rid of this debug logic cube.
Okay.
Feel free to use it if
All
you
right.
want.
Okay, don't
You
look
were-
at chat.
The first thing you did was look at chat. Come on.
They're saying you destroyed the game.
Well, yeah, that's the point, right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing you want to do is test. All right. Let's try and switch between my characters. So I have all of my characters moving at once, all 4 of them, except for this guy because he detected someone before he's actually switching. Okay, and this guy, he's still moving too. So it looks like let's restart again.
Okay. So a lot of things are
instead-
happening, right? The first thing you notice is, wow, there are a lot of new changes.
Interesting. Okay, so. Okay. So I think I have all 4 of my characters now moving together. Yes, I do.
You do indeed.
Okay. So that means basically all of my characters are becoming playable characters, so I'm not properly pushing brains. Is that the only bug?
It's not the only, no.
Okay. All right.
These are layered. It's like an onion. You'll have to...
But is that the only thing I should be experiencing when I'm going through
I believe so.
play? Let's go to tactical mode. Did you add something to tactical mode?
Possibly.
Let's see, actually. Tactical mode.
Tactical mode should... Some parts of it are broken.
Okay. So I'm benefiting from this because I actually built this thing. So
Right,
I'm already
absolutely.
seeing a few stuff with this. So like for instance, this is not moving towards the global player. This cursor, I made it so it moves towards the global player, so that when
Right.
you get into it, it's already there. Let's see if I'm actually selecting one of these guys, if I actually move towards it. So I do not move towards this guy. They're selected properly. Also, the cursor doesn't appear. Oh, interesting. So I can move. Moving works. Let's just double check this. Moving does indeed work. Okay. So moving works,
Right.
but attacking does not work.
Huh? Doesn't. She seems to be attacking.
Is she? Is she now? Let's see. But the actual oh, I know why. There's actually another bug we actually created when we were doing mine. So, okay, so she's attacking, but can she attack these guys? That's the real question. Will she attack them? And no, she will not. So that means she's not effectively doing her attack. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually unbreak something that we broke here with these health bars and in the general UI.
Okay.
And why is this guy on top of this guy?
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
I don't
know how that happened.
I don't think that's a bug.
No,
I don't think
this is not intended.
I don't think moving stuff and putting them on top of each other counts as a bug.
Wait, what is that logic cube actually on top of that?
I don't know, but I'm quickly doing something where so we made these global booleans or sorry, global object variables. So we want to just make them global object variables here as well, so these actually properly work. Oh shoot, I gotta do all of this stuff. That's
It's
right.
Okay. It's you know what? You can go a little over 15 minutes.
Okay. Yes, because I will need to. Okay, so like for this guy, I gotta do.
Yeah.
And this is actually debugging also in the process. These icons that display over my characters is a debugging format because what I'm doing is I'm seeing if their go-to target is working properly and their tactical target, as in this is the guy I'm attacking, if that's working properly. And I'm not even looking at chat either. So
Yeah,
if you guys are telling me what the answer is in chat,
They aren't.
too
They
bad.
actually aren't.
Good,
So-
good, okay. So, are you guys finding it more fun that you all know what the problem is and I don't?
I think possibly. So this shows you that I changed 3 things about the game, and it takes a while. This is why debugging is so important. And when you're debugging something, you really want to think about it as much as you can, right? Because we did something, right? I went
Okay.
through your game in about under a minute. And there's 3 changes in here, and it can really, really kind of mess up stuff. So you want to make sure you're trying to get as much information as quickly as possible.
And also, I try and switch around, and let's try it this way. Let's try and switch. I'm not going to the 4th character right now. Okay. I'm just causing seizures right now on chat. But they're all, okay, cool. So now let's see what happens. I should be getting a button prompt when I hit to attack. All right, so that is properly registering. So they have that means that tactical attack is properly working. Okay, cool. So this character, let's tell him move. Okay, so that means that the go-to boolean, that is properly working as well. People are like, I remember 2 of the things you did to break it. Okay. Well, unfortunately, you moved this, so I know that you actually did something with this.
I don't think I did anything with that.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why it got moved. That's
All
real.
right.
Wait, maybe.
So there's something going on with character selector. This is a line I don't need to worry about anymore.
Okay.
Okay. So when I hit down D-pad, then party members incremented by 1. That is correct. When I hit up on the D-pad, party members decremented by 1.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay.
When my party members equal to 4, it is equal to 1. Nope, that should be 5.
There you go.
It is equal to 1. When my global party members equal to 0, then it should basically lines 4 and line 5. Those are the lines that are basically looping back on my selection, so that when I'm hitting up or down, I cycle between my 4 characters.
Right.
So because I was constraining it to when is equal to 4, it then went back to 1. That constrained it to me only selecting 3 characters instead of all 4 characters.
Indeed.
So cool. All right, 1 bug down.
1 bug down.
Okay. So the other thing is,
So let's see. Now that we have that bug done. what
so
does
I
this
can
look
now go between my 4 characters properly. But I believe they are all still playable characters right now. So that means they're not properly pushing and popping brains. So I'm probably not like the best case example though of how to properly debug, because I don't think I need to actually put anything in debug code here.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think I have enough of an understanding of what's going on here that I don't need to debug. But let's see. All right, so let's go to push brains. let's see what happens. So when my global party members changed, then my global player pops their brain. Also, my global player pops their brain when I go to attack review. Okay, those are correct. When my global party member is equal to 1, then my first player, he pushes his brain. And also, that should be global player is equal to that. Okay, so you remove global player from these guys.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
So
The reason why I figured out because I knew it was meant to be global player, but I know that, for instance, this is kind of important when you're talking about globals. So the player variable is something that I reference throughout my game, throughout all objects in the world. All of my objects need to know who the player is that you've currently selected. That means it needs to be a global variable. It needs to be a global variable because so many objects are referencing it. That would just be so complicated if I said the player object variable if I call the player object variable in like this logic cube. So what you do is you set a global, and then that makes it so that basically everything's tracking that global player. So let's see if you got rid of global player here.
That would be too mean.
But it should still be checked. You should.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Another really common thing that people run into is when you're using a global variable, if in any one point it's not global, it won't work then, because a global variable is totally different from a local variable. So bam, like that. This is now a separate variable from all the global variables. Doesn't matter if they're both called player. They are two separate variables. Now they're the same variable. So it's really important. One good rule of thumb when you're using globals and even campaign variables, make sure that every time you use it, it is using the same either local, which is just nothing in front of it, global, or campaign itself.
Right.
Okay. So now what happens is when I switch between my characters. So because I'm now using the global variable, I'm now properly switching, and they're not all moving at once. And the reason was because, let's go back to that line, just explain it further. And the reason is basically I wasn't actually setting right here. So right here in line 4, that's the crucial line. Every time my party member changes, then whoever my player is, they pop their brain. That means their brain is removed so that the next person who becomes a player, their brain is then added. So this wasn't running because right here, line 7, line 10, line 13, line 16, those no longer were actually correlating with line 4 here. None of them were actually, none of them were the global player anymore. So that means that none of them were actually losing their brains. Yep. So they all had the exact same brains as, basically they all had the same brains as if you were controlling them.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. So I have found 2 of your bugs.
Right. And I suppose I should give you repro steps for this last one.
Well, is it in tactical? Is it in tactical mode?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I want you to assign something to every player in tactical mode.
Okay, like all at the same time? So like the same task to all of them?
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell this lady to move here. I'll tell this guy to move here. I'll tell my fighter to move backwards.
Bold strategy.
Okay, and I'll send in my one guy by himself. Okay, so they are all stuck there. And
I think that might be something else. Well, or it's unintended consequences.
I think it's an unintended consequences. So he got out of it as soon as he detected the enemies. She got out of it also. So this guy right here, where is he? This guy. Okay, let's talk more about you guy right here. All right, you can move. You're good. Now let's make you attack. Let's see how you do there. Oh, you're not attacking. What's up with that, huh? And also, we'll have you move right here. Also, this variable isn't, the icon of you walking isn't going away. I think I know exactly what the issue is.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. So what makes you think you know what the issue is? How about we do that first? So you have an idea what the issue is. Why do you think that is, and what are you going to do to change it and test it?
Because, okay, so I know how I set up all my page switches. Let's go in here. And it looks like basically variables or booleans aren't becoming false.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me. That's an assumption I'm making, though. Could be totally wrong. So it looks like booleans are false.
Mm-hmm.
Or booleans are not becoming false. So when my enemy is dead, or my enemy equals nothing, this boolean then equals false. Okay, that's okay. When distance my target is less than 1, go to equals false. So those two things are becoming false. They are becoming false. Okay, so it is a bit more challenging than I first thought. I thought you just removed these lines.
That would, oh, come on. Then I'd have to think you memorized all those lines. That'd be rough.
All right, so let's see. I'm just looking through, I'm reading through this all.
Sure.
Okay, so they're attacking as soon as they reach their target. Okay, so that actually seems okay. What's going on in here? All right, so the thing that I'm curious about is what happens when I press A.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when I press A is the most important part.
Right.
When I press A, then let's see. The global player's enemy is my target. I think I. Oh, wait. That seems like if that's a line I had in here, then that's actually kind of that I need to fix that code because I forget if I put that in there or if that's something you put in there. So global player's tactical target equals true when they're 1 away from that enemy. Okay, okay. When they're not 1 meter away from the target, then their vector variable target equals my vector variable target, which is right here. Okay, okay. And then their go-to equals true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ignore this line and see what happens.
Okay. Cool.
I'm going to ignore line 12 because I don't remember putting that there.
Okay.
If I did, that's a weird thing that I could have done. But so like my process is if something looks weird to me or something looks off, I just start ignoring lines and seeing what happens with those lines.
Right, absolutely. So what would you expect ignoring that line to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes I ignore lines and I don't know what they do.
That's okay. That's a good way to start.
So let's go into tackle mode here, and let's tell this guy to attack. Okay, so he's attacking. So let's start. He still does nothing. Okay, he still does nothing. Now, does his movement work? Yes, his movement works properly. Okay, so movement works. Oh, wait a minute. He's not getting out of it. Okay. Now her movement works. All right. So once she's gotten there, oh, interesting. She actually effectively moved there. Okay, so let's have her move backwards. Now that works properly. She's there now. Now my guy's suddenly moving.
Which guy?
The guy who I told to move a while
warrior.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay, now he's confused and he doesn't know where he needs to move. Now he does know where to move. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Now he's good. Now I need him to attack there. So a lot of what I do is as you can tell, I do a lot of testing.
Right.
Like when I want to find out all of the different things that happen with my bugs.
Yeah.
And why, like, what are all the circumstances? And also, me just play testing with it. A lot of bug finding is kind of, you have like this aha moment, like, oh, this must be it. And sometimes you just need to give yourself time to think through this. And this is kind of this final bug is this stumper that I'm still thinking through. All right, let's just start looking at everything. All right, so that's all correct. So that ignore line did nothing. That did nothing to actually help stuff.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know, though, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's I'll just let you know that line was in there. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. Whoa, then I need to do probably something better than what I'm doing right here. This is like the global player's enemy equals target. Which, why would I be doing that? Anyways, that's another thing.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Okay, so the global player's target. So that's correct.
Yeah.
The global player's Boolean is also correct.
Okay.
They correctly fire their Boolean.
Okay.
So now I need to see what happens when are they pushing their brains correctly. So all right. So
if they weren't pushing their brains correctly, what do you think would happen?
If they weren't pushing their brains correctly, then they might get stuck on a brain or something.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm looking to see if that might be the case. So I want them to all get their brains properly. So this looks correct. They're all pushing brains.
Yeah.
And they're all equaling the player. Okay, so that all seems correct. Looks like this code is correct based on me actually, building the game.
Right.
So what else could it be? Let's go back into this brain. Oh, wait a minute. Call page. I want to switch page. Let's try switching page.
Okay, let's try switching.
Because, all right, so call page would have all of those run on the same line together. And I want to actually switch pages so they stop doing everything else. Yeah, okay, maybe that's it. So call page is something where when you... Well, do you want to explain call page while I actually go through all of them
sure.
and change these and switch pages?
So calling a page will kind of add it to the same page, and switching a page will stop the page you're working on and go to another page completely. So if you're calling a page, you're doing multiple different lines of code. If you're switching a page, you're stopping what's happening right now and starting something else, right? It's almost like chewing and walking, like chewing bubblegum and walking, right? You'd be calling the walking page and calling the chewing bubblegum page. If you want to just walk or chew bubblegum, it'd be different.
Okay, was that it? Because it looks like it.
Yeah,
works.
that could have very well been it. I think you have it. You've got it there.
So was that all the bugs?
That was 3 bugs.
Oh yeah, I did that in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
less than 20 minutes. Okay, cool. Yeah. So all right, closing thoughts on bugs because, like what are your best practices when you look at bugs?
So kind of, what I walked through when I did it is the best thing to do is make controlled mistakes, right? Try to change things that you expect to change things you know will affect it. You have a belief that if I change this will happen. And then when that happens, you're like, okay, I know that much about that system, right? You're trying to learn more about each system each time you interact with it. So every time you interact with the brain, anytime you interact with a prop, you want to change something where you have a very clear expectation about what will change when you modify it. And that way, when that doesn't change, you can identify something you don't know.
And I'd say a better best practice is don't add any bugs.
Okay.
That's
good. Yeah, good.
Yeah. I mean, I'd add on top of that. I built a lot of stuff in Project Spark. I've been using it for over a year now. I think I look back and I know I've logged 650 hours on Xbox, and I've spent a lot more time on PC, so I don't know how. But anyways, I spent a lot of hours building stuff, and a lot of different stuff I built. And no matter how proficient I get at code, and how smart I get at understanding code and understanding what is supposed to happen, I still, in every single thing I build, I still have so many bugs.
Yes.
For instance, this this randomly generated city that I'm working on right now. So many bugs with it. So many bugs that I'm slowly tackling and overcoming. And I find the best thing is when you get really stuck, just start displaying every Boolean variable. Start displaying if that's true or false. And then just look for if it's true in the world, look for that. If it's false in the world, then that might indicate something.
Yeah.
Every single vector variable, just display that over the objects to see if their vector variable is correct. Every single number variable, display that somewhere in the world to make sure that number variable is correct. Basically, have somewhere where it displays every single variable you're working with, because 90% of the time, especially because I use a lot of variables, variables are kind of a big culprit. Variables aren't the culprit, they're the way to find the culprit.
Right.
Because if a variable isn't setting to what you need it to be set as,
Yes.
then that means something isn't working. And a lot of times you'll find, I'd say 99.9% of the time, your problem is a simple thing you forgot. So many times it's been like, I forgot to put once here, or I forgot to make this start a 2, or this, or I forgot to make this a global variable. So many times it's a simple thing like that. And don't feel discouraged when you spend 2 hours debugging only to find that you forgot to put once in one place, because that's the beauty of bugs, is they can sometimes be this complex beast that takes you kind of a long time to find, and sometimes they can be the simplest thing that you overlook, and it's completely fine to overlook things, because if you didn't have human error, you wouldn't have interesting things in the world. The most interesting things that I've ever built have been through human error in Project Spark. I've
It's in fact not a bug; it is a feature, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've built stuff, and I was like, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Actually, it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, just start displaying all of your variables, and then you will find at some place, if you use a lot of variables, you'll find at some place a variable is not doing what you expect it to do. Then you can look back at the variable and see how you set it.
Right.
And also, Word Andrew brings up a good point in chat. A lot of times, also look in every brain to see if they are templates, and also if you've set their brain to be true or false. So many times I found that I set the brain is active to be false, and I forget about that.
Yes.
And I'm like, why is this code not running? I don't understand. And then I look, because it's not supposed to run. Or it's a template, and I forget to make it a template. So I'm like, why are there randomly crossbow bolts shooting in my world? It's like, I forgot to make the thing that fires crossbows a template.
Right.
So yeah, there's so much stuff you can do with debugging.
But
yeah,
I'd say the number one thing is, one, be patient, and
Mhm.
two, look everywhere. Don't assume you know the problem as soon as you run into it. Be open to what the solution can be.
Yeah, and know always at every point, the actual reason why the bug is the bug is the very last thing you look at, because once you look at it, it's fixed. So it's Murphy's Law applies at all times to bug finding, and it's intended to apply in any case to this.
Okay, cool, guys. Well, we hope that stream was good for you.
Yeah.
I hope you got a lot out of it. And hopefully you know a little more about debugging. And hopefully you had a good time watching me and Brian try to solve these issues.
Yeah. If you guys found some interest in this, and you'd like to see kind of more examples of debugging, because there's a lot of different things that we can do, let us know. Otherwise, we have a lot of different things that we're going to be tackling in Tuesday Education Streams. We actually have a backlog of stuff we're going to be tackling. We're looking at, in a very soon stream, showing you how to do save states in your games and how to make a game where you can bring over all your objects you're working with in your world from one level to the next level. Then we also are going to show how to make opening cutscenes, main menus, things that you're making on top of your game where everything in your world should be basically paused except for the thing that's working.
Yeah.
Random Dungeon Generator is something we're still working on, but it's really hard to get it to a good point where we can do it in an hour and you understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Besides those, let us know here on Twitter, on the forums, wherever you can reach Zach, myself, and the rest of the Team Dakota on what other educational things you would like to see us cover.
One community member, Rapture, reached out to us.
Through private message.
Through private message on the forums, and we're now building a tutorial for what he requested.
Yeah.
So if you guys do have something you want to learn, even if it's something in your game that you're building right now, we can make a tutorial for that.
Yeah, as long as it applies, as we find a way that it applies to a lot of things. Like, for instance, the thing that Rapture requested was a great thing to cover. It's sort of how to make main menus in your game. And that has a lot of different things you need to anticipate and look at when you're starting up your game. So that's definitely something we're going to cover. Thanks, Rapture, for sending that in. But yeah, everyone else, send in other stuff to us. We will tackle them when we can. If it's more complex, we need to figure out how to condense that into an hour first. So, for instance, Random Dungeon Generator is something a lot of people would ask for, but we want to make sure we There's so many different ways we can approach it, and we're looking at kind of the best way. We might actually show 2 different ways, because there's one way I know to tackle it in an hour, but it's not quite a random generator. It's something a bit different.
Could always show different ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. And there will be more of these. And Thursday, check out the stream.
Yes.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of leave you with that.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good one, guys.
Create your game as you play? Any Spark can do it. Spark, activate the portals.